For centuries, alcohol has been celebrated. It flows at weddings, toasts in moments of triumph, and comforts in times of despair. It is woven into our culture, our holidays, our social fabric. It promises joy, connection, confidence, even a momentary escape from the chaos of the world. But what if everything we believe about alcohol is a beautifully constructed illusion? What if, beneath the laughter, the dancing, the clinking of glasses, there lies a silent force that gradually pulls us away from our true nature? This is not just about addiction. This is about soul fragmentation, spiritual disconnection, and the hidden layers of reality that most people never see. Few dare to look beyond the veil. But if you've ever felt like something within you dims when you drink, if you've ever questioned why moments of pleasure can leave a shadow behind, or if you've ever wondered why ancient spiritual traditions were so cautious about intoxicants, then this is the message your soul may have been waiting for. In this video, we will explore the hidden spiritual dangers of alcohol, not from a moral, religious, or scientific standpoint, but from a deep, energetic, and esoteric perspective. We'll travel through forgotten history, ancient teachings, and mystical truths. We'll uncover why alcohol has been both a tool of ritual and a trap for the soul. We'll examine how it alters not just the mind, but the energetic body, the aura, and even the astral plane. And we'll look at how you can protect your energy, and maybe even reclaim the lost parts of yourself. Because awakening begins not only by seeking the light, but by recognizing the shadows we've been taught to ignore. This is just the beginning. What's hidden runs deeper than you think. Subscribe, like, and activate the bell, because the next revelation may shift everything. Share this with someone who's ready to see through the illusion. Chapter 1. The Alchemical Origins of Alcohol. Let's begin where few ever dare to look. In the origins of the very word we use so casually, alcohol. The term comes from the ancient Arabic word Al-Kul, a reference not to a drink, but to a black powder used as eyeliner, a fine dust made of antimony. In ancient Egypt and the Islamic Golden Age, this substance wasn't merely cosmetic, it was ritualistic. Used by priests and mystics, it was believed to carry protective and spiritual properties. But in alchemical texts, Al-Kul took on a deeper, more symbolic meaning. It came to signify the extraction of the spirit from matter, the invisible essence drawn out of the physical. To distill something, in alchemical tradition, meant to pull forth its most volatile, powerful, and intangible part, its soul in a way. And so, the word alcohol transformed into something more than a substance. It became a symbol of separation, of taking the spirit from the body. Let that sink in. Alcohol literally means to separate the spirit from the material form. Now imagine what that implies when you consume it. Modern society calls alcohol a social lubricant, a relaxant, or even a harmless indulgence. But in spiritual and esoteric terms, it's a force of energetic division. It gently, almost seductively, pulls the soul out of sync with the body. It creates a subtle gap between who you truly are and how you experience reality. And here's the part most people miss. When you drink alcohol, you're not just altering your mood. You're altering your frequency. You're tuning your energetic field to something lower, something more porous, more vulnerable. In shamanic and ancient ceremonial traditions, substances that alter the spirit are approached with extreme caution. Sacred plant medicines like ayahuasca or peyote are only taken under strict guidance, in sacred space, with spiritual intention. That's because these plants open energetic portals. They thin the veil, and unless you're properly prepared, what comes through that opening may not be in your highest interest. But alcohol, we consume it at parties, on first dates, in moments of heartbreak, at funerals and baby showers alike. We drink to forget, to celebrate, to escape, to belong. And every time we do so without protection, without sacred context, and without knowing what we're actually doing to our energetic bodies. In esoteric circles, some believe that this is not accidental. They suggest that the widespread normalization of alcohol in our culture has a hidden purpose: to keep souls dimmed, disconnected, and disoriented, unable to fully awaken or access higher states of consciousness. Because when the spirit is gently pulled away from the body, not violently but subtly, repeatedly, through years of casual consumption, what's left is a person who feels just a little less clear, a little less present, a little less empowered. And this fragmentation becomes normal. We start calling it adulthood. We call it stress. We call it just how life is. But somewhere deep down, the soul remembers what it's like to be fully anchored, fully embodied, fully luminous. So here's a question few dare to ask. When you raise your glass, are you celebrating life or slowly slipping away from it? Because alcohol is not just a drink, it's a ritual. And the question is, who is benefiting from the ritual? And what part of you is being offered? Chapter 2. The fragmenting of the energy body. We are not just flesh and bone, we are layers of vibration, energy wrapped in light, enveloped in consciousness. Every ancient tradition, from the Vedic to the Egyptian to the Toltec, speaks of the human energy body. The aura, the chakras, the subtle currents that move around and through us. These are not metaphors, they are maps of our spiritual architecture. And this energy body is not fragile, but it is sensitive. When it is strong and whole, we walk through life with presence, clarity, and protection. We intuitively feel danger, we radiate calm, we attract harmony. But when the energy body is damaged, we become like a house with broken windows, open to the winds of chaos. And alcohol, it doesn't just fog the mind, it shatters the field. Even after a single drink, your aura, that luminous shell that surrounds and protects your essence, begins to thin. The chakras, spinning wheels of light that regulate your emotional and spiritual flow, start to wobble, slow, or disconnect. The energetic cords that connect you to your higher self become loose, frayed, unstable. It's subtle at first. You laugh more freely, you speak more boldly, you feel lighter. But it's not the light of divinity, it's the lightness of disconnection. Because as the veil lifts between worlds, you are no longer fully anchored. And that is when other energies, ones you did not invite, ones you cannot see, begin to notice. You may call them spirits, entities, thought forms, or simply energetic parasites. But many ancient traditions agree. When the body is weak and the soul is adrift, something else can enter. This is why shamans protect their space, why mystics purify themselves before sacred work, why initiates fast and pray before crossing thresholds. They know that the energy body is sacred territory, and that the moment it's breached, something is lost. Now imagine this happening, not once, but dozens, hundreds, thousands of times over a lifetime. Each drink, each altered state, another fracture in the field, tiny leaks, tiny tears, until eventually you don't remember what it feels like to be whole. Have you ever noticed how some people seem dim, like their eyes are clouded, like their energy is always leaking, like something in them is not quite present? That's not aging, that's not mood. That is energetic erosion, and alcohol is often the silent architect behind it. But here's the truth, this damage is not permanent. The body wants to heal, the soul longs to return, the light remembers its way home. But first, we must see clearly what has been hidden. Because healing begins not only by mending the body, but by sealing the soul, by calling your energy back, and by honoring the sacred container that you truly are. Chapter 3. Alcohol and the astral realms, leaving the body unattended. Let's imagine something most people never consider. You take a few drinks. You begin to feel lighter, looser, less grounded. Your thoughts slow down. Your emotions heighten. And then There's that moment, the one no one talks about. It's subtle, but unmistakable. You're no longer fully in your body. Maybe you're slurring, maybe you stumble, maybe you forget what you said, maybe you black out completely. But something deeper is happening here. In spiritual terms, this is called displacement of the soul, a moment when your consciousness partially or fully disconnects from the physical vessel. And when that happens, you don't just become vulnerable, you become vacant. Let's go deeper. Many esoteric traditions, from Gnostic Christianity to Tibetan Buddhism, believe that when the body sleeps or is altered, the soul travels. The astral body lifts out, exploring the dream world, the astral plane, a dimension layered just beyond the veil of physical reality. But here's the key. When this is done with intention, like during meditation, lucid dreaming, or shamanic journeying, there are guards, guides, and ritual protections in place. The body is held in sacred space. The returning path is safe. The soul knows where it's going and how to come back whole. But when the astral body is pushed out by alcohol, the journey is chaotic. There is no sacred circle, no grounded guide, no spiritual compass. And so the soul wanders. Sometimes joyfully, sometimes aimlessly, sometimes into places it was never meant to go. And the body, it's left behind, still breathing, still smiling, still dancing, but open, wide open, like a house with the doors unlocked in the middle of the night. In that state, ancient mystics believed other energies could enter, not because you summoned them, but because you forgot to guard the gate. Some of these entities are harmless, curious. Others are tricksters, feeding on your lowered vibration. And some are darker still, attaching to your field, whispering into your mind, influencing your emotions long after the hangover fades. These are not fairy tales. These are ancient warnings. From the shamans of the Amazon to the initiates of the Egyptian temples, there has always been a reverence for the soul's journey and its vulnerability during altered states. Even in the Bible, drunkenness is not simply frowned upon. It is portrayed as a state of spiritual compromise. Noah's drunkenness, Lot's intoxication. These stories aren't just moral tales. They're metaphors for what happens when the soul sleeps and the gates are unguarded. Now ask yourself, why is alcohol the only spiritual substance that is normalized, celebrated, and taxed? Why is it the only altered state that requires no ritual, no preparation, no intention, just a legal age and an empty glass? Could it be because unconscious astral exposure serves a system that prefers you fragmented, confused, and disconnected? Because a fully embodied, astrally aware human being is dangerous to those who feed off ignorance. You can't be controlled when your spirit is rooted. You can't be deceived when your light is intact. You can't be manipulated when you remember who you are and where your soul goes when you close your eyes. So the next time someone says, "Come on, just one drink," ask yourself, where will my soul be tonight? Who will watch over my body while I'm away? Because alcohol isn't just a drink, it's a key, and it opens doors you may not know how to close. Chapter 4. Cultural Conditioning. How Society Encourages Spiritual Disconnection. Alcohol is not just a substance, it's a cultural institution. From the moment we are born, we are surrounded by messages about alcohol. We see it in advertisements. We see it in movies, TV shows, and even in social media. We hear it in songs. We watch people celebrating, drinking, and becoming more social, more relaxed, as if alcohol is the key to happiness, fun, and success. But have we ever asked ourselves, why is alcohol so deeply woven into the fabric of society? From ancient feasts to modern-day parties, the connection between alcohol and celebration has been long-standing. It's the social lubricant, the excuse for letting go, the permission slip to disconnect from your inner self. But what if this celebration isn't as harmless as it seems? What if it's not just about having fun, but about keeping us distracted from deeper truths, higher consciousness, and our true connection to the divine? Look closely at the patterns. As we enter adolescence, the societal conditioning begins. We're taught that drinking alcohol is a rite of passage, a symbol of growing up, of fitting in. We're given permission to celebrate with alcohol, with little to no guidance on the spiritual implications. The message is simple. Everyone does it. It's normal. It's fun. But what is truly happening when we drink? What are we disconnecting from? And why is it that we feel an inexplicable desire to reach for that drink? Is it because we're seeking pleasure? Or is it because we're unknowingly trying to fill a void? A spiritual emptiness that society's pace and distractions have created. Alcohol has been sold to us as a social tool. It's how we celebrate birthdays. It's how we mark holidays. It's how we deal with stress. It's how we mourn. It's how we forget. But have you ever noticed how, after the buzz fades, there's often a deep sense of loss? A void that the drink didn't fill, but only covered up? Now think about this. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that drinking is simply part of growing up. The teenager who sneaks their first drink, the university student at their first party, the adult who drinks socially to feel confident or part of the group. It's as if society is programming us to associate alcohol with both freedom and escape. The truth is, these cultural influences are far from neutral. They serve a greater purpose, one that goes beyond personal pleasure and into the realm of collective control. When you drink, you're not just numbing your own emotions. You're joining an energetic collective of souls who have been convinced that this disconnection is normal. And when everyone around you is caught in the same cycle, the collective vibration drops. But why does this matter on a spiritual level? Because as the vibration of the collective consciousness drops, so does the potential for humanity to awaken to its higher self. The more disconnected we become from our spirits, the more susceptible we are to external forces, whether those forces are societal pressure, manipulative media, or darker spiritual entities that feed on collective ignorance. This disconnection doesn't just affect you individually, it affects us all. It creates a world where people feel lost, disconnected, and out of touch with their true essence. A world where people go from one party to the next, one drink to the next, never quite fulfilled, never quite whole. Alcohol is the ultimate tool of spiritual sedation. It teaches us to seek external sources of happiness instead of nurturing the internal connection with our higher selves. It tells us that pleasure is found in the glass, not in the heart, that the answer to all our suffering lies in escaping reality, instead of facing and understanding it. We're not taught to embrace spirituality from an early age. We're taught to embrace distraction. And what better way to keep people from awakening than through the mass consumption of substances that alter perception and distort consciousness? What we don't realize is that when we drink, we are feeding into a system designed to disconnect us from our true potential and to distract us from our spiritual purpose. This is why the path to true spiritual awakening requires breaking free from cultural conditioning. It requires asking deep, uncomfortable questions about our habits and the forces that shape them. It requires looking beyond the societal masks of fun and freedom to understand what is truly being hidden beneath the surface. The next time you pick up a drink, ask yourself, what am I really seeking? Am I truly celebrating, or am I trying to escape from something within? Am I connecting to my highest self, or am I losing myself in a haze of distraction? And most importantly, who benefits from my disconnection? Chapter 5, Spiritual Teachings and Ancient Warnings, the Ageless Wisdom on Alcohol. Throughout history, various spiritual teachings and ancient cultures have recognized the powerful and dangerous effect that alcohol can have on the human soul. From the wisdom of the ancients to the sacred texts of major religions, alcohol is rarely seen as a simple substance for pleasure. In fact, it is often depicted as something that can cloud the mind, weaken the spirit, and distort the soul's connection to the divine. Ancient wisdom on alcohol. In ancient spiritual traditions, alcohol was sometimes used in sacred rituals, but it was never seen as something to be consumed casually. Many cultures believed that certain substances, including alcohol, had the power to alter a person's spiritual state. The shamans of various indigenous cultures around the world, for example, were deeply aware of how spiritual energy could be affected by external influences, including intoxicating substances. In fact, many of these traditions warned that alcohol could open spiritual portals, not necessarily to divine or positive entities, but to negative energies and spirits. Shamans and spiritual healers often used powerful plant medicines to connect with the spirit world, but alcohol was largely avoided due to its disorienting and disconnecting effects. In these cultures, it was understood that a clear and focused mind was required to communicate with the spirits, and alcohol clouded this connection. Ancient Indian traditions, particularly those rooted in yoga, hold a deep understanding of how substances like alcohol can disrupt the flow of prana, the life force energy that sustains the body and soul. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of the central texts of Hinduism, there is a clear emphasis on the importance of purity in both body and mind. Alcohol, as a substance that weakens one's mental clarity and control, is seen as an impediment to achieving spiritual liberation, moksha. It is seen as a temporary pleasure that comes at the cost of long-term spiritual progress. Similarly, in Buddhism, the 5 precepts emphasize the importance of maintaining mental clarity and purity. The second precept explicitly advises against the use of intoxicants, warning that they cloud the mind, create karma, and hinder the path to enlightenment. In Buddhist teachings, intoxicants such as alcohol are seen as tools that bring the mind into a state of delusion and ignorance, drawing the practitioner further from the goal of awakening. The Christian and Islamic warnings. In Christianity, alcohol is often treated with a sense of caution. While wine is mentioned in the Bible, especially in the Last Supper, its consumption is often linked to moderation and self-control. Excessive drinking or drunkenness, on the other hand, is clearly condemned. In fact, the Bible warns that drunkenness can lead to the destruction of the soul and spiritual downfall. In the book of Proverbs, it is stated that wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Proverbs 21. The warning here is clear. While wine can be consumed, excessive indulgence can lead to spiritual confusion, loss of control, and an eventual disconnection from God. In Islam, the warning is even more explicit. The Quran categorically prohibits alcohol consumption, calling it abominable and associating it with sin. In Surah Al-Ma'idah 590, it is written, "O you who have believed, indeed, intoxicants, gambling, sacrificing on stone altars to other than Allah, and divining arrows are but defilement from the work of Satan, so avoid it that you may be successful." This prohibition reflects the Islamic belief that intoxicants not only disturb the mind, but also create an obstacle to spiritual clarity, leading the individual away from Allah and closer to harmful behaviors. The practice of abstaining from alcohol is considered essential for maintaining spiritual health and purifying the soul. Esoteric teachings on alcohol. When we delve into esoteric traditions, the relationship with alcohol becomes even more intriguing. In alchemy, alcohol was believed to be a substance that could separate the spirit from the body. Alchemists, who were deeply concerned with the purification of the soul, saw alcohol as a disturbance to the process of spiritual ascension. According to alchemical teachings, the goal was to refine the soul, to eliminate impurities and achieve a state of spiritual enlightenment. But alcohol was seen as a substance that clouded this process, obscuring the alchemist's vision and ability to discern the truth. In mystical Christianity and other esoteric paths, the inebriation of the spirit was viewed as a kind of spiritual disconnection. In some mystical schools, the concept of spiritual drunkenness was associated with being taken over by lower energies, unable to discern the true path or connect with divine wisdom. Alcohol, in this sense, is not just a physical substance, but a metaphysical force that numbs the soul, severing one's connection to higher realms. Even in modern-day esoteric circles, alcohol is seen as a veil that prevents the soul from seeing beyond the material world. It's an obstacle to enlightenment, a blockage in the flow of divine energy. Some modern spiritual teachers go as far as to say that intoxication through alcohol or other substances is a direct form of spiritual bypassing, an attempt to avoid emotional or spiritual work that needs to be done, connecting with the higher self. If we look at these ancient teachings together, a clear picture emerges. Alcohol is a tool of disconnection. Whether it's the physical, mental, or spiritual effects, alcohol creates barriers between the individual and their higher self. The warnings from these spiritual traditions aren't merely about physical intoxication, but are a call to awaken to the higher aspects of human existence. These teachings remind us that true happiness and spiritual fulfillment are found through purification, clarity, and connection with the divine, not through the temporary pleasures of alcohol. Many people today still live in the shadows of these teachings, unaware of the spiritual consequences that alcohol can bring. They may consume alcohol casually or habitually, without considering the deeper impact it has on their spiritual well-being. Yet, as we uncover the truths embedded in these ancient teachings, we begin to see that the path to true freedom lies in reconnecting with our authentic self, undistracted and unclouded by substances that alter our perception. Understanding the warnings of ancient and esoteric traditions about alcohol brings us one step closer to understanding its spiritual impact on humanity. It reveals a truth that has been hidden for millennia. Alcohol, while socially accepted, is not just a physical substance. It is a spiritual obstacle. It disconnects us from our higher selves, our divine potential, and the truth that lies within. As we continue this exploration, let us remember that spiritual clarity and awakening are the goals, and these can only be achieved by distancing ourselves from substances that dull our perception of reality. Chapter 6: Healing Practices and Restoring Spiritual Balance. Overcoming alcohol's effects. As we have explored throughout the previous chapters, alcohol's impact on the spiritual plane is not just a temporary affliction, but a deep, lasting disturbance to the body, mind, and soul. However, the journey doesn't end with acknowledging the damage. There is hope for healing, and the wisdom from ancient traditions provides a map to restore balance and reclaim our connection with the higher self. The path to recovery from the spiritual effects of alcohol is not simply about abstinence. It is about transformation, an inner alchemy that can purify and heal the energetic disruptions caused by its consumption. Energetic healing, restoring the soul's harmony. The first step in healing from alcohol's spiritual effects is to acknowledge the energetic damage it causes. Alcohol, as we've seen, slows down the body's vibrational frequency, weakening the aura and making the individual more vulnerable to external negative influences. When alcohol lowers the frequency of the body, it creates openings in the energetic field that can be easily exploited by lower, denser energies. These influences, whether they are negative thoughts, emotions, or even spiritual entities, can disrupt the balance of the soul. To heal, we must begin by restoring the vibrational frequency of the body. This process involves clearing the energetic field and re-establishing a strong, stable connection with the soul's higher energies. Here are a few essential methods used across spiritual traditions to facilitate healing. 1. Energy cleansing and purification. The process of purification is crucial when recovering from alcohol's effects. Various spiritual practices and healing techniques are designed to help remove the toxic energy that has accumulated in the aura and energy centers, chakras. One common method is the use of salt baths, which have been used for centuries in many traditions. Salt is considered a powerful purifier, capable of absorbing and neutralizing negative energies. Herbal baths with plants such as rosemary, lavender and sage are also used for their cleansing properties, helping to clear the body and energy field of unwanted influences. In addition, smudging with sacred herbs such as sage or cedar is a traditional ritual for clearing negative energy. The smoke from these plants is believed to purify and protect, creating a shield of positive energy around the individual. This practice helps to break free from the residue left behind by alcohol and strengthens the energy body. 2. Meditation and breathwork. Meditation and conscious breathwork are powerful tools for healing the spiritual imbalance caused by alcohol. Deep breathing activates prana, life force energy, clearing the energy body and helping reconnect with the higher self. Mindfulness meditation cultivates awareness of thoughts and emotions, dissolving negativity and raising the body's vibration. With regular practice, these techniques promote clarity, peace, and divine connection. 3. Visualization and energy healing. Visualization uses the imagination to direct healing energy, often through imagery like golden light flowing through the body. This dissolves negative patterns and replenishes the soul's vibration. Energy healing techniques such as Reiki or pranic healing can clear blockages and restore energetic balance. Distance healing may also help resolve past trauma or spiritual damage from alcohol. 4. Diet and nutrition for spiritual recovery cleansing. The body through diet is essential for restoring spiritual health. Whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and superfoods support detoxification and energy renewal. Hydration, herbal teas, and liver-supportive herbs like milk thistle aid in physical and energetic cleansing. A healthy gut, supported by probiotics and fermented foods, also enhances spiritual well-being through the gut-brain energy connection. 5. Sound healing and mantras. Sound therapy, using singing bowls, tuning forks, or drums, helps align the body with higher frequencies and unblock stagnant energy. Sacred mantras such as Om raise spiritual vibration and offer protection. Repeating mantras brings harmony, focus, and connection with universal energy. 6. Rebuilding the connection with the higher self. Alcohol clouds the link to the higher self, our true divine essence. Journaling and self-reflection clarify the soul's path and help release emotional baggage. Sacred geometry symbols like the flower of life or Sri Yantra align the mind with divine truth, activate the third eye, and enhance intuition and spiritual insight. Rebuilding the connection with the higher self, restoring the bond with the higher self, is vital for healing the spiritual damage caused by alcohol. The higher self is our true divine essence, but alcohol clouds this connection. Practices like journaling and self-reflection help clarify the soul's path, release suppressed emotions and limiting beliefs, and support deep healing and reconnection with our spiritual truth. The power of forgiveness and letting go. Forgiveness is a key part of spiritual recovery. Releasing resentment and guilt clears karmic residue and energetic attachments from alcohol-related harm. This emotional and spiritual purification creates space for divine energy to flow and supports lasting transformation. Spiritual recovery from alcohol requires inner work, physical detox, and conscious practices. By restoring vibrational harmony through meditation, energy healing, sound, nutrition, and self-reflection, we reconnect with our higher self. Though gradual, This journey leads to deep healing and alignment with our soul's true purpose. Chapter 7. Spiritual Awakening. Transforming energy and reclaiming your soul's true essence. In this final chapter, we shift from exploring the spiritual harm caused by alcohol to focusing on healing and transformation. Spiritual recovery isn't about guilt, it's about empowerment, reclaiming divine essence, restoring connection with the higher self, and awakening to higher consciousness. The power of transformation, rebuilding the soul's energy. True healing requires deep transformation on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Though alcohol disrupts soul alignment, with commitment and ancient wisdom, we can restore energetic balance and reclaim divine connection. 1. Embracing the inner alchemist. Like the alchemist refining base metal into gold, we purify ourselves through spiritual practice and inner work. This inner alchemy transforms pain into wisdom. Self-reflection and spiritual discipline elevate our frequency and bring freedom. And 2. Releasing the past. Letting go of old patterns, alcohol often masks pain and trauma. Awakening begins by confronting and releasing this emotional baggage through forgiveness and healing. Releasing the past clears the way for our inner light to emerge. And 3. Reconnecting with the divine. Strengthening spiritual practice. A daily spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, or contemplation, anchors us in divine connection. This sacred bond offers peace, guidance, and resilience, keeping us aligned with our higher self. 4. The role of intuition. Trusting inner guidance. Alcohol clouds intuition, but spiritual practice restores it. Intuition is the voice of the soul, clear, wise, and unshakable. Trusting this inner voice empowers us to make aligned choices and reclaim sovereignty. 5. Cultivating gratitude, elevating your vibration. Gratitude raises our vibration and dissolves negative emotions like guilt or shame. Focusing on blessings transforms our energy field and invites divine grace and abundance into our lives. Reclaiming your energy, restoring the aura and chakras. Alcohol disrupts chakra balance, dulling spiritual energy. Reclaiming your essence means restoring energetic flow through the body's centers. Each chakra plays a unique role in spiritual alignment. 1. Root chakra, Muladhara, grounding and stability. The root chakra anchors us. Alcohol causes fear and disconnection. Restore balance through grounding. Walk barefoot, connect with nature, or visualize red light at the spine to rebuild safety and stability. 2. Solar plexus chakra, Manipura, reclaiming power. This chakra holds our will and confidence. Alcohol weakens it, creating passivity. Use affirmations and self-empowerment practices to reignite inner strength and visualize golden light, restoring confidence. 3. Third eye chakra, Ajna, awakening intuition. The third eye reveals spiritual truth and insight. Alcohol clouds this perception. Restore it with sacred geometry, meditation, and journaling. Visualize deep indigo light, opening your inner vision and wisdom, the path to divine empowerment and spiritual freedom. Awakening is a journey of healing and return to the higher self. Gratitude, energy work, and letting go illuminate the way. Choose truth over illusion. The divine lives within you, guiding your path to freedom and purpose. Conclusion: the path to spiritual awakening and empowerment. As this journey through the spiritual impact of alcohol comes to a close, we see that alcohol affects far more than the body. It clouds the mind, disrupts the soul, and severs our link to the divine. But healing is always possible. Through awareness, intention, and spiritual practice, we can restore our energy, realign with our higher self, and reclaim our soul's essence. This awakening isn't about regret, but about growth. Choosing clarity over confusion, presence over numbness, and light over shadow. With tools like meditation, chakra healing, and gratitude, you can walk the path of freedom and spiritual empowerment. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to stay connected to more content like this. Your journey is sacred. Walk it with intention, and let your light lead the way.